The amount of time it took me to get a thumbnail for this video. My arms are full of lines from the books that I've been holding for probably 10 minutes. Oh, welcome to another sweaty video. Because it is really hot, and also holding books for a thumbnail for 10 minutes is really tiring. You wouldn't think, but it is. Anyway, welcome to this video. As you can tell by the title, we're doing a every single book I own that I haven't read yet haul. I saw this video on Jack Edwards' channel. I will link it down in the description anyway, if you want to go and watch his video after you've watched mine, because he has far fewer books on his unread pile than I do. All these books you see here I haven't read. I didn't just take all my books out of my bookshelf. All of them are unread. So, without further ado, let's get into the video, because I feel like it's going to be a long one with all the books that I've got here. The first book I haven't read is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. I've had this book for a really long time. I just haven't gotten around to reading it. But I will read it at some point. It will not stay on my bookshelf forever. Well, it probably will stay on my bookshelf forever, but it won't stay unread forever. Then the next book I haven't read yet is The Susan Effect by Peter Hög. I don't know how to pronounce his surname. It looks Swedish or Scandinavian, and I don't know how to say it. Then, the next book is The Blood Print by Asma Zehanat Khan. Then next I have Ask Again Yes by Mary Beth Keane. Then Black Dog Summer by Miranda Sherry. Post-Truth by Evan Davis. This tome over here, The Lost Symbol by Dan Brown. Exit West by Mohsin Hamid. I recently bought this book, so it hasn't been on my bookshelf for too long, but I still haven't read it. Maybe I should challenge myself to read all the books that I buy within a month of buying them. But first I need to get through all the books that I've already bought a long time ago. Then I've got Z, a novel of Zelda Fitzgerald, because I'm not a big fan of F. Scott Fitzgerald. So I'm supporting his wife instead, even though she can't reap the benefits of my support anymore. Neither can he, so whatever. Then I've got The Devil in the Dark Water by Stuart Turton. I read The Seven Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, and I loved it. So when I found another one of his books, I thought, I'm going to read it, I'm going to buy it. It is a weapon, because I just injured my lip. It is fat. It is very fat. It was also quite expensive, I'm seeing now, so I should read it at some point. The next book I have is The Rules of Magic by Alice Hoffman. She also English. She also wrote Practical Magic. If you don't know what it is about, I can't really tell you either. I only saw the movie with Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman. Then next up I have The Dreamers by Karen Thompson Walker. This is the book that the movie The Dreamers is based on. I haven't seen the movie yet because I want to read the book first, but I think the movie is on Netflix. So if you don't want to read the book and you just want to watch the movie, it's on Netflix. Shall we move on to this little stack here? I next have A Tale for the Time Being by Ruth Ozeki. I also bought this recently, and I did a book haul of it with Exit West. I will put a card up here so you can go watch that if you want, even though you're seeing all of the books that I bought in this video anyway. Then I have The Night Ocean by Paul Lafarge. This one sounded really intriguing to me. I've never heard of this book. I also bought it at the same time as I bought the other two books that I've just talked about, and I'm really excited to read this one actually, so maybe I will read it before the end of the year, but probably not. Then I also have A Very Large Expanse of Sea by Tahira Mafi. I know I'm far behind the trend on this one because everybody was reading her books a year or 2 or 3 ago, probably 4 at this point. But I still wanted to read it, so I bought it. Then we've got Holding Up the Universe by Jennifer Niven. Then, another birthday present that I haven't read, Women Who Run with Wolves by Clarissa Pinkola Estes. One Day by, what's his name? David Nichols. I almost said Richard Nichols. It's not Richard, it's David Nichols. There's a movie of this one as well if you don't want to read the book. It's got Anna Hathaway in it, so if you'd rather watch that, there you go. But even, why are you even watching this video if you don't care about books? I don't understand. I've got Vox, which people were also raving about a long time ago and I haven't read it yet. But here I am. Then I've got The Darkest Minds, and to be honest with you, I don't think I'm ever going to read this book. I got it as a birthday present from a friend. And to be honest, I feel like this is past my time. I feel like I'm not in this demographic anymore. So next up we've got books I'm borrowing from the bookshop I work at. We've got Two Lipsticks and a Lover by Helena Frith Powell. It's Quiet by Susan Cain. The Psychopath Test by John Ronson. Sweet Bitter by Stephanie Danler. Plagues and People by William H. McNeill. The Past in Hiding by, I almost said Rose Markman. Nope, Mark Roseman. And 12 Rules for Life by Jordan B. Peterson. What shall we do next? Maybe this pile, because it is precariously balancing itself here. Then, okay, we're moving on to my classics section. Most of these I'm borrowing from my dad because he has all of his and my grand's old classics in his collection, so I'm borrowing them all from him. I do own a few, my own, but most of, probably the bottom half of these are all borrowed from my dad. First up, we have Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen, Anthem by Ayn Rand, Papillon by Henri Charrier. I'm also not sure that I'll ever read this book. I saw the movie and I don't think I want to revisit the story. I actually bought this for my dad. Turns out he already had a copy of his own. So, yay, go me. Now I own a copy of Papillon. The Moon and Sixpence by W. Somerset Maugham. Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. The Snow Goose by Paul Gallico. This one I have read, so it shouldn't be on this pile, but it's so thin I didn't see it between the other books. Pollyanna by Eleanor H. Porter. The Portable 19th Century African American Women Writers, edited by Hollis Robbins and Henry Louis Gates, Jr. The Blacker the Berry by Wallace Thurman. The Tenant of Wildfell Hall by Anne Bronte. Can we just appreciate this cover? I love this cover so much. I want all of my classics in these penguin covers, unless I can find even beautifuler ones. The Years by Virginia Woolf. Orlando by Virginia Woolf. Last Exit to Brooklyn by Hubert Selby Jr. Tess of the D'Urbervilles by Thomas Hardy. My lips are dry. Atlas Shrugged by Ayn Rand. Vile Bodies by Evelyn Waugh. I'm not going to lie to you, when I bought this book I thought Evelyn Waugh was a woman. No, Evelyn Waugh was a man. But anyway, I would still want to read the book. Then we've got The Black Tulip. Oh wow, I can't, this cover is telling you nothing. The Black Tulip by Alexandre Dumas. Okay, then we've got Far From the Madding Crowd by Thomas Hardy. Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. The Scapegoat by Daphne du Maurier. The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. The Oregon Experiment, which is kind of an academic book that I'm borrowing from my dad. Then we've got Living Biographies of Famous Women. It's very dusty. It's been on my bookshelf for a long time. Including biographies of Cleopatra, Queen Christina, Sarah Bernhardt, Charlotte Bronte, Elizabeth Barrett Browning, Helen Keller, Florence Nightingale, Mary Queen of Scots, Joan of Arc, George Eliot. If you didn't know, George Eliot was actually a woman. Yeah, and many more. Okay, next pile. First up in my next pile is, I should probably put it like in frame. Really helpful maybe, just so you guys can also see. Wachten op Woensdag by Nikki French. I don't know if Nikki French generally writes in English or in Dutch. No, it's been translated. Okay. Translated by Irving Pardoen and Cécile de Hoog. That's great respect on Nikki French right there. I got this from a friend. She bought it at a charity bookshop in our little village because she thought it was written in German, because I'm half German, and she didn't realize it was written in Dutch. Luckily, I understand Dutch. Most of it, at least. There are a few words that just don't make sense to me, because in Afrikaans they mean something different. But a quick Google Translate just clears that right up for me. So, yes, I'm going to read a Dutch book. It is a fat Dutch book. But I think I will have a lot of fun. Next up, we've got I'm Mona Lisa, which I also hauled recently. Then I've got, oh, I didn't tell you who it's by, sorry, Natasha Solomons. You could have seen that on the cover anyway, but yes. A House Full of Daughters by Juliet Nicholson. Here we're getting into my memoirs and biographies section. A Delayed Life by Dita Kraus. Strange Blooms by Jennifer Potter. A Double Life by Sarah Burton, a biography of Charles and Mary Lamb. If you don't know who Charles and Mary Lamb are, just Google them. They were pretty interesting people, and quite mischievous as well. Then I've got a biography of Leonard Woolf, because you can't only have Virginia Woolf, you have to have Leonard Woolf as well. They come in a package deal. Then I've Scratch, which is edited by Manjula Martin. Histories of the Unexpected about the Tudors. The London Scene, 6 Essays on London Life by Virginia Woolf. A Room of Wonders Own by Virginia Woolf. Then I've got some French poetry. I can't read French, but I will at one day I will be able to read French properly, because I'm learning French very slowly. So I've got poetry in French for one day when I can understand it. Then I've got Dearly by Margaret Atwood. Then I've got Night Sky with Exit Wounds by Ocean Vuong. Selected Poems by William Wordsworth. The Dragon Book of Verse, which is an Oxford school anthology of poems. And I found this at the charity bookshop in my town, and I thought, I want to read more poetry, and also it's nice to sometimes have, an anthology of poems by different poets, and not just like a collection of all the poems by one person. That's nice too, but sometimes you just want variety, so you can discover new poets and then go and buy their collections separately. Then I've got The Nature Notes of an Edwardian Lady by Edith Holden. Eminent Victorian Women. And look guys, it's George Eliot. This is written by Elizabeth Longford. Can I read you this thing? Yes, you have no choice. She has chosen women who in their lives, actions or writings all fought against the repressive rules of Victorian society. They are the Bronte sisters, whose short and cloistered lives were illuminated by the vividness of their creative genius. George Eliot, whose novels brought her admiration and adulation even from those who abhorred her unorthodox lifestyle. Florence Nightingale, who through her devoted care of British servicemen opened up a whole profession to women. Josephine Butler, who brought about the repeal of the infamous Contagious Disease Act. Annie Besant, who campaigned vigorously for the rights of women subject to unreasonable husbands or harsh employers. Ellen Terry, who brought matchless charm to the stage, one of the very few careers that had always been open to women. Harriet Beecher Stowe, whose Uncle Tom's Cabin alerted the world to the cruelties of slavery. Mary Kingsley, who crammed into her 8 years of freedom more adventures than most achieve in a lifetime. And Dr. James Miranda Barry, who found her freedom in male disguise. By the end of Victoria's reign, much progress had been made. Women had been accepted into many professions. They paid taxes and often took responsibilities for the lives of thousands. But not for many years would they be allowed to vote. Lady Longford's highly readable account of this period of struggle is remarkable for both its scholarship and its insight. Right, last two stacks. I've got Atlantis by David Gibbons, Their Finest by Lissa Evans, Where'd You Go, Bernadette by Maria Semple, Rachel's Holiday by Marion Keyes, Unaccompanied Women by Jane Jaska, Mrs. Hemingway by Naomi Wood. The Mirrored World by Deborah Dean. Don't Fall Over books, thank you very much. The Labyrinth by Kate Moss. Oh wait, I've read this one. Pegasus and the Flame by Kate O'Hearn. That does not belong on this pile. I have read it. When Women Were Dragons by Kelly Barnhill. That one I also recently bought. Okay, last stack, we can do this. Buddhism for Bears, Paulo Coelho. The Alchemist. David and Goliath by I almost said by David Gibbons. No. By Malcolm Gladwell. The Deeper Meaning of Life by Douglas Adams and John Lloyd. Wind Pinball by Haruki Murakami. 101 Ways to Go Zero Waste. I almost said zero wealth. That's very easy. It's very easy to go zero wealth. By Catherine Kellogg. Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. Quiet Power by Susan Cain. Brief Answers to the Big Questions by Stephen Hawking. The Golden Ratio by Mario Livio. And The Glass Universe by Deva Sobel. I did it. I got through all of my books. These are all my books. Thank you for watching this highly erratic and probably crazy video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you can give me a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below. I will leave a number on the screen now, once I've counted how many books I have here that I haven't read. Go through your physical TBR and let me know how many books on your physical TBR you haven't read yet. Subscribe if you'd like to see more bookish content in the future. And other than that, I've got nothing more to tell you, so I'll see you all in my next video, which will hopefully be soon. Bye!